So hello guys, here Ganesham Naik. So today we three peoples, Rohit Pedkar, Rutresh Manrekar, Jatin Shirodkar and myself Ganesham Naik signing in our YouTube channel. So today we are going with a contract ISA. So our topic is void agreement. In this topic in this video we are going to discuss about the void agreements which we cover. Okay, so Rudresh is going with a resistance of marriage. Jatin Shirodkar is going with a legal proceedings. Rohit Pedkar is going with uncertain agreements, and myself Ganesham Naik is going with a wagering agreement. So let's start with the video. Wagering agreement is a agreement where two parties bet on some uncertain thing which they don't have, or they don't at all have the idea of what will be the outcome of it, and making it void under section 30 of the Indian Contract 1872. Okay, so I will explain it more easily in example. Nowadays the IPL is going on. So if two peoples or the two person, let's take it as A and B. If A and B bet something 10,000 rupees on any particular match, so it is a wagering agreement and it's a void contract or the void agreement what they did. Okay, so legal standpoints of the wagering agreements are under section 30 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, wagering agreement are void and not unenforceable. Like they are not enforceable by the court of law, meaning the court will not uphold such contracts. Like however, they are not illegal also. Like as we learn that all illegal contracts are void and all void contracts are not illegal. So that void contract in that statement or in that scenario, this wagering agreement comes under that all void contracts are not illegal, like that only wagering agreement are void but it's not illegal. Like if any bank lends some money to to bet on some match or bet that amount, so it is a void contract but it's not a illegal contract. And like may it will be in some cases. Okay, so case law of case law example is like, we can say, Carlyle versus carbonic smoke ball, like in 1897. Like it's a court hold that a genuine offer, it was intention to create a legal relationship, and a legal relationship, but distinguish between that valid contract and means it is totally different between the wagering contract and the void contract. So thank you.
Legal proceeding in void contract. Since a void contract is enforced from the beginning, no legal proceeding can be entitled to enforce it. However, restriction may be granted if any benefit has been received under the contract. For example, A pays B 10,000 to smuggle goods, but B failed to deliver. A cannot sue B to recover the money as the contract itself is void due to illegality. Legal standpoint in legal proceeding in void contract. Under section 20G of the Contract Act 1872, a void contract is one that cannot be enforced by law since it look legal validity. Court cannot do entertain claim for its enforcement. However, under section 65, if one party has received a benefit under void contract, they may be required to restore to prevent unjust achievement. Case law example. Mohari Bivi versus Dharmodas Ghoshik in 1903. A minor took a loan, but since a contract to minor is void, the court had a legal actions could be to recover a loan amount. Thank you.
Uncertain agreement. An agreement is void. Its terms are vague, unclear, or incomplete. making it impossible to enforce. For example, A promised to sell B some quantity of rice at a fair price, but the quantity of rice and the price are uncertain, making the contract void. Legal standard point on uncertain agreement. Under Section 29 of Indian Contract Act 1872, an agreement is void if its terms are uncertain or incapable of being made certain. Courts cannot enforce vague contracts as they require clear terms to determine obligations. Case law example Gutting vs. Lee 1831. A contract stating that extra payment will be made if the horse is lucky was held void due to uncertainty.
An agreement in restraint of marriage refers to any contract that restricts a person's freedom to marry. Such agreements are generally considered void under contract law as they go against public policy by interfering with any individual's fundamental rights to marry. This principle is based on the idea that marriage is a social institution that should not be unduly restricted by contractual obligations. While some exceptions exist, such as reasonable restrictions in cases of remarriage or specific legal arrangements, most agreements that impose an absolute restraint on marriage are unenforceable. Legal provisions. Section 26 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 states every agreement in restraint of marriage of any person other than a minor is void. Explanation. Any agreement that prevents or limits a person's right to marry is void and unenforceable under Indian law. This section ensures that no one can legally stop or restrict another person's right to marry. Key features of Section 26. All marriages restraints are void. Any agreement that limits or prevents marriage is automatically void. Applies to adults only. These sections applies to adults. Agreements restrictions a minor's marriage are an exception and can be valid due to child marriage laws. Public policy concern such as agreements are void because they go against the basic right to marry and harm the social structure. Example, if A agrees not to marry in exchange for 1 lakh from B, the agreement is void and cannot be enforced in court. Types of marriage restraints. Agreement in restraint of marriage are categorized into two types. Absolute restraint completely prohibits a person from marrying. Example, if A promises never to marry to anyone, this is void under Section 26. Partial restraint limits a person's choice by allowing marriage only under specific conditions. Example, if A agrees to marry only with B's permission, this is also void because it restricts free will.
So now we are moving to last part, that is conclusion on void agreement. So definition and nature. Void agreement are those that lack legal enforceability from the contract. This means even if both parties agreed to terms, the law does not recognize or enforce them. Legal implication. Since void agreement hold no legal standing, they cannot be enforced in court. However, under Section 65 of Indian Contract Act 1872, if one party has received benefit under a void contract, they may be required to restore it to prevent unjust enrichment.